Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to walk you through a really powerful n8n automation that integrates Slack and ServiceNow, and it's a total game changer for IT teams, service desk staff, and anyone involved in incident management. If you've ever found yourself constantly checking ServiceNow for new incidents or manually updating your team on Slack, this one's for you. We're going to automate all of that and make it feel almost magical. If you work in IT, DevOps, operations, or even just manage a support team, you probably know how messy and time-consuming it can be to manage internal requests. Employees ping you on Slack, send emails, or file tickets in a portal that nobody checks. Structure monitoring tool detects a major outage and creates a high-priority P1 ticket in ServiceNow. Normally, that ticket would sit there until someone checks their email or the dashboard. But now, with our workflow in place, n8n detects the P1 ticket creation in real time and instantly posts an alert to a dedicated Slack channel called Critical Alerts. That message includes the ticket ID, summary, affected system, and direct links to the incident page. You can even tag the on-call engineer using Slack mentions and optionally include buttons like Acknowledge or Escalate. If someone clicks Acknowledge, n8n updates the ticket in ServiceNow with their name and timestamp. That closes the loop instantly and ensures everyone is aligned. Now, before we get into specific scenarios, let's start with what these tools are and why they're important. Slack is your team communication platform. It's not just for chatting. Think of it as the central nervous system of workplace collaboration. Channels, threads, mentions, integrations, it's where most teams already spend their time. Then there's n8n. This is an open source, node-based workflow automation platform. You can think of it like Zapier or Make, but much more customizable and better suited for developers or teams who want more control and flexibility. And finally, ServiceNow is a full-fledged IT service management platform. It's widely used in enterprises to track incidents, manage requests, and coordinate approvals. So when you connect Slack, n8n, and ServiceNow, you're creating a full loop that allows employees to make requests, support teams to respond, and everyone to stay updated without jumping across multiple tools. This workflow solves that by automating the process of pulling recent incident data from ServiceNow and delivering it straight into Slack. It's fast, smart, and it keeps your whole team in sync without lifting a finger. It starts right inside Slack. At the top of the chain, we've got our Webhook node. This is like our front door. Whenever someone interacts with the Slack app, like clicking a button or submitting a form, Slack sends a payload of data to this webhook. So basically, this node listens for incoming events from Slack. Now, once that data comes in, we pass it along to the parse webhook node, which is essentially a set node in n8n. Think of this step as cleaning up the incoming mess and organizing it. We take the payload and isolate just the part we care about, which is inside body payload. That's where all the juicy stuff lives, like the interaction type, user info, button values, form fields, you name it. Then comes the route message node. This is a switch node, and honestly, it's like the traffic controller of the whole setup. It decides what to do next based on what kind of interaction just happened. Here's where it gets cool. This node checks the type of the Slack interaction and routes it accordingly. For example, incoming event has a callback_ID of search_recent_incidents. It knows the user probably clicked a button to search recent incidents, maybe to see if any tickets are open or systems are down. So that branch goes to handle that use case. But if the type is view_submission, it knows the user submitted a modal form, maybe entering incident details like title, description, and urgency. So it passes that data to whatever process handles saving or forwarding that form input. Then there's another path for block_actions, which is Slack's way of saying, hey, someone clicked a button. So that route would handle logic like triggering another modal, running a command, or toggling something in real time. This kind of routing is super powerful because it makes your Slack app dynamic and responsive. Instead of writing tons of separate workflows for every type of interaction, you've got one streamlined flow that intelligently handles each case. Now let's talk about that Slack modal. It's not just any modal, it's personalized, sleek, and useful. When it opens up, the user sees a warm greeting at the top, a little wave emoji, and a message telling them they're about to search ServiceNow incidents based on priority and state. These aren't just suggestions, both fields are required. This keeps the search accurate and intentional. A team member opens a Slack modal, which is just a fancy name for an interactive pop-up form, and selects a few filters. You can choose the incident priority, like high or medium, and the state, like new, in progress, or resolved. Then, we've got two smart drop-down fields. The first one asks for the priority of the incidents like high, medium, or low. The second drop-down is for the incident state, maybe it's new, in progress, resolved, whatever your ServiceNow setup supports. These drop-downs aren't static, they use Slack's external_select feature, which means you can fetch live, dynamic options if needed. Super useful when your values change over time. After that, we've got a section asking the user to choose a Slack channel. This is where the search results will be posted right into the flow of conversation, where the team is already working. It keeps everything transparent and fast. Finally, when the user hits the search button, this modal sends the data to the backend, which could trigger another n8n workflow that calls the ServiceNow API, fetches incidents, and posts the results back into the selected Slack channel. And that's it, no tab switching, no manual search, no friction. Then comes the close modal pop-up node, which sends a response to Slack to close the modal after user input has been captured. Once the modal is closed, the workflow moves to the ServiceNow node. This node performs an API query to retrieve incidents from ServiceNow that match the specified state and priority provided by the user in the modal form. This section ensures a smooth transition from user input in Slack to backend data retrieval in ServiceNow, facilitating the identification of relevant incidents. Next, we pass those inputs to ServiceNow using the ServiceNow node. Here, we're executing a dynamic query that filters incidents based on the user's chosen state and priority. For example, a query might search for incidents that are in progress and marked as high priority. The node is configured to return all matches. Once we receive the incident data, the next question is, did we find any matching results? That's what this if node checks, looking for the presence of incident numbers. If we did find incidents, the workflow continues by sorting them by the most recent ones. Then we limit it to the top 5. These top 5 incidents are then looped through using a batching node. Inside the loop, we format each incident's details for Slack using Markdown. This includes the incident number, description, open date, caller, priority, state, and more with a clickable ServiceNow link. Now, assuming you've already queried incidents from ServiceNow using those filters, the very first step in this snippet is sorting those incidents. We're using a sort node, which sorts the incidents by the number and value field in descending order. That just means the latest incidents, those with the highest ID numbers, bubble to the top of the list. But we don't want to flood Slack with too many incidents. So next, we have a limit node that says, just give me the top 3 incidents. This way, even if ServiceNow returns 20 results, we're keeping the Slack message short and digestible. Then, we use a split in batches node. What this does is loop over each of the 3 incidents individually. Think of it like unstacking a pile of cards and processing them one by one. This is useful because the next step is formatting. Now we come to one of my favorite parts, formatting each incident for Slack. Each incident is converted into a Slack block using a set node. It formats details like the task number, short description, who opened the ticket, when it was opened, and its severity, priority, state, and category. And it even includes a clickable link that opens the incident directly in ServiceNow. That's super handy for fast triaging. To make the Slack message more readable, each formatted incident is separated by a nice clean divider. Once we've formatted each individual incident, we gather them all back together using a summarized node. Specifically, we use the concatenate function on the incident_details. Yield. This takes all of those pretty little Slack formatted blocks and glues them together into one giant block that Slack will love. Then, we move into another set node that builds the final Slack message. This is where it gets really personalized. The message starts with a friendly greeting like "Hey there," and dynamically includes the incident state and priority that the user selected earlier. It also tells the user how many incidents were found and whether we trimmed it down to 5. Even better, We include a clickable link that opens a filtered list of all matching incidents in ServiceNow. So if someone wants the full list, no problem, one click and they're there. At this point, we've got this beautiful Slack message all set and ready to go. But now comes a fork in the road. Should we send this to a Slack user directly as a DM or post it to a Slack channel? To decide that, we use an if node. It checks whether the user picked a channel during the Slack interaction. If a channel ID exists, we use that and send the message to the selected channel. If not, we fall back to sending it directly to the user who triggered the request. In both cases, we use a Slack node to send the message. It's configured to use block message formatting, which means Slack will display it with sections, dividers, and clickable links. That's way better than just dumping plain text. In just a few seconds, they get a Slack message listing the top 3 or 5 most recent high-priority open incidents. It includes all the key details they need and links them straight into ServiceNow. If they want more than 5, they click the link and boom, they've got everything. It saves time, makes incident management more collaborative, and delivers the info where people are already working inside Slack. And the best part? This workflow is modular. You can plug in other systems, expand filters, change the formatting, or trigger escalations, whatever fits your ops strategy. But what if no channel was selected? No worries. Then the workflow takes the second route. It sends a direct message instead. That happens through the DM send matching incidents node. And again, it's using Slack's message blocks, but this time sending it straight to the user ID that came from the Webhook response. This setup is awesome for making your workflows feel more intelligent. For example, maybe your users can submit a form to request help from support. If they don't pick a channel, it'll send a DM straight to them. But if they do pick a public support channel, the same message shows up there for the whole team to see. And all of this happens without you having to manually switch paths. It's all dynamic, clean, and super efficient. You're basically giving your Slack integration a brain. Now, what if there are no incidents that match that criteria? You don't want your user just sitting there wondering what happened. This workflow solves that in a really clean and thoughtful way. So, what happens first is we've got this logic gate basically, an if node that checks if the user selected a Slack channel. That's important, because if they did pick a channel, we want to post the message there for everyone to see. Maybe it's a shared incident management channel, or something like Alerts Team or Ops Notify. Now, what the system does is it pulls in the channel ID dynamically from the Slack modal view that the user filled out. It's grabbing that info using the parse webhook node earlier in the workflow, which isn't shown here, but you can picture it like a listener that catches the form submission from Slack. From that form, we're checking if the channel selection field actually has a value. If yes, boom, we go down the first path and use the channel, notify user no incidents matched node. This node sends a nicely formatted message into the chosen channel. The message says something like, no incidents were found with a state of open and priority of high. It dynamically inserts whatever options the user picked in their form. So it's personalized. It's clear. It avoids confusion. But what if they didn't pick a channel? That's totally possible. Maybe the user was just experimenting or didn't know they were supposed to pick one. That's where the second path comes in. Instead of sending the message to a public channel, we DM the user directly. That's the second Slack node, the one named DM, notify user no incidents matched. It works the same way as the first one, same message, same dynamic data insertion, except it sends the message as a direct message, privately. Now, why does this matter in real life? Think about this. Your IT team wants a daily incident digest, filtered by priority and status, and if nothing shows up for their filter, they should know that nothing showed up, not just sit in silence wondering if the tool failed. This workflow makes sure the feedback loop is tight. Every request gets a response, even when the result is nothing. It also respects the context public when needed, private when preferred. It's thoughtful automation. No unnecessary noise in a shared Slack channel, but also no user left hanging. And the best part? It's all dynamic. This isn't hard-coded. It adapts based on the user's interaction. So whether they choose a channel or not, they'll always get a relevant and timely response. And just like that, we've built a dynamic, fully automated ServiceNow to Slack workflow using n8n. Whether you're monitoring incident queues or alerting your team in real time, this setup makes it seamless and scalable. If you found this helpful, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more low-code automation tutorials. Have questions or want to expand this workflow with AI or analytics? Drop them in the comments below. Also, if you want to dive deeper into this powerful n8n automation that connects Slack with ServiceNow, just hit the link down below in the description. It's all their step-by-step details, examples, and everything you need to get started. Don't miss it.